Alright people, what's going on? Space Cowboy here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we got another video for you guys. Before we get into today's video, please make sure to hit this video with a like. You guys have been doing a great job with liking the videos, and it's showing the channel's doing very well, and I'm extremely appreciative of you guys. Thank you so much. Also, if you're new, feel free to subscribe. About 95% of you guys that are watching my stuff aren't subscribed. So if you're enjoying the content and you keep coming back, feel free to hit that button and finally hit the notification bell to be notified when I post new content like this or go live and stuff like that. So today's video, let's get straight into it. So yesterday we did the position evaluation for quarterbacks, and you guys very much well received that video. So here's the successor to that video. We're talking about the running backs today. So we have a total of 7 running backs on this depth chart as we speak right now. Now we're going to go from the starter down to the second string and then everyone else behind them. Now running backs do include fullbacks, okay? That's why I'm not going to just make a separate video for that. So we're going to talk about those guys and how I feel that some people stack up regarding this entire situation. So let's start off with Ezekiel Elliott. We already know who this guy is. He got his big payday last year. He's with the Cowboys for the future pretty much. You know, he's here for pretty much the rest of his career. I don't have to go any further on that. And look, he's one of the, if not the best running back in the league. He's been the most consistent running back in the league. He's posting up at least at minimum 1,000 yards and at minimum 6 to 5 touchdowns a season. Now, yeah, you know, we could see him get more touchdowns, but considering the fact that if you're thinking 2019 was a down year for him, I mean, for the yardage that he put out and for him to have around 11, 12 touchdowns, I mean, like, you can't get any better than that. I mean, like, looking at his numbers here, just a hair shy of 1,400 rushing yards, and he had 12 rushing touchdowns, and also you can add 2 receiving touchdowns. Like, when you look at what Zeke's been doing in the passing game and you add that to his rushing total, he's at least getting about 1,700 to 2,000 scrimmage yards every season, which is extremely well production and a lot of consistency from a running back you took top 5 in 2016. So and not only that, he hasn't missed a game. The only times he's missed games was when the Cowboys made him miss games and basically sat him. Other than that, he's never missed a game, and other than the suspension in 2017, but that's a whole different thing. So I really have nothing more to say than Zeke's doing his thing, and, you know, when you have a guy that's that great and teams have the game plan around Ezekiel Elliott and basically focus on him as a key point on offense, you can't ask for more than that. Look, you know, if you told me how I would grade Zeke on a letter grade from A to F, I mean, A, easily. Ezekiel Elliott is one of the most complete running backs in football. I would say he probably is the best, just because he's the most consistent, and he's not like some of these running backs that pop up once in a while and then, like, they just don't do anything after a bit. But yeah, don't get me wrong, he doesn't have his games here and there, but, like, sometimes he doesn't rush for 100 yards, sometimes he doesn't get any touchdowns, but, like, you know, there are certain parameters that go into those games. But I digress. We talked about Zeke long enough. Let's move into our second string running back, Tony Pollard. So Tony Pollard in 2019, you know, rookie running back out of Memphis. You know, when he was in college, he was basically the Swiss Army knife for Memphis. And looking at his numbers here, he had just a hair shy of 500 rushing yards. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. The key thing is the average. He averaged 5.3 yards a carry, which is extremely good, especially for, like, the limited amount of time he had. He has that home run ability like we saw in games like the Rams game, the Miami game, stuff like that. He has that ability to really take the top off a defense in regards to being on the ground. So when I look at him, as much as I'm not trying to say he's like this player, remember when we had DeMarco Murray, and then after DeMarco Murray you had Joseph Randle, and he would be your home run hitter type? I think that this is the same dynamic you have here, okay? In that you have a guy that is your power running back, your balanced running back that can do it all, and then you have your speed guy that comes in. Not saying that Tony can't do the things Zeke can do, absolutely not. I think he can do the near the same things, and I think that Tony, with, you know, considering he's younger, and I think he has a lot more tread on him. Not saying Zeke's done, But I do think that you can run Tony a bit more, and I think Mike McCarthy will use him a lot more. If you're not familiar with what Mike McCarthy has done, Mike McCarthy has really gotten the most out of his backup running backs. Okay, and granted, he has not had a running back like Zeke, so we don't know how he's going to use him. But if we think Mike McCarthy is going to have that balanced approach where he's going to rotate running backs but still use Zeke as the primary back, like if in Green Bay he had Eddie Lacy and he would, usually use him a bunch, and then he would have his rotational running backs come in and do their thing. There's that. So, I mean, and not only that, I should add that Tony Pollard did catch a touchdown pass and he had about 100 receiving yards. So, with that being said, I mean, you can't really ask much more. I mean, like, he's a backup running back, which we definitely have felt he should have been used more. And, it's just every time he touched the ball, he was like lightning in a bottle. So, that's like the biggest thing for me is, like, I think we have our two top running backs. It's just a matter of who's behind them. And this is where things get interesting. So, we got to talk about, I'm going to quickly go to Jameez Olawale. Jameez Olawale, he's your fullback right now. He's 31 years old. The Cowboys picked up his option, and I don't think he's going to be on this team as long as people think he is, because there's another guy that we'll get into momentarily that I think can knock him off, and I think has a good chance to. Look, Jameez really, he's just your blocking guy, right? He isn't anything crazy. He isn't anything special. I mean, yeah, he could pass catch. We saw that, and that's why we were excited that we were getting him from Oakland. But the problem was the Cowboys didn't use him. He only caught, I think, one pass, and he dropped a touchdown pass back in 2018, and a lot of people had a poor taste in their mouth. But, look, I think Jameez, honestly, I don't know what exactly he's going to end up doing at this point, because it really comes down to what Mike McCarthy wants to do, because I really don't think he's going to hold on to Jameez longer than this year, or hell, he'll probably get cut, just basically because you don't really, honestly, I really don't know with Jameez, because it's really a wild card for me, because it's, in my opinion, it comes down to this guy. I think you pronounce it Shewo Olonilua. I think that's how you pronounce it. I apologize if I butchered it. I'm not very good with names, especially certain ones. But when it comes to him, I think Shewo has a solid chance at taking Jameez's job, because he's the only competition, right? I think that a lot of people, and I vividly remember this when I did my live stream talking about the undrafted free agents out of the draft. And when you looked at it, basically, people were talking about how this guy could be the next John Kuhn with Mike McCarthy when he was in Green Bay. And I would agree with that. I think that when I look at what he can do, I think like he can definitely be the guy where it's like, okay, it's a 4th and 1, and you want to give it to the fullback. He can just pile forward. Okay, he's one of those types of guys. He's the power runner. He reminds me a lot, because I was looking at him tape-wise, and he reminds me a lot of Zeke in the sense of his running style, more so the power style. And I think that him being in this situation, I think that all he has to do is just show that he can basically do Jameez's job at a much cheaper price. And he has the job, and who knows, maybe he does. And keep in mind, the Cowboys only had 3 running backs on their roster last year, and that include Olawale being a part of that 3 running backs, because, that's what they put them in as. But do I think the Cowboys will hold 4 running backs? For example, they'll have Zeke, they'll have Tony, they'll have a fullback, whoever that may be, and then a 3rd running back. I don't know. I doubt that, just because I really comes down to how Mike McCarthy approaches this. I wouldn't be shocked, because Mike McCarthy has been known to have a ton of running backs to be used in a real game situation. But yeah, I think that when it comes to the Shewo, and again, if I'm pronouncing it incorrectly, please put down in the comment section below. I want to make sure I get that right, so don't kill me. I don't know how to pronounce his name. If that's how I pronounce it, cool. When it comes to him, I really do think that he has a good chance of knocking off Jameez Olawale for the starting job, if he's given that chance and if Mike McCarthy is willing to take that approach. Next, we have Rico Dowdley. He is a running back out of South Carolina, another undrafted free agent alongside Shewo. I think that when you look at the other guys, which I'll throw into now because I don't want to go on forever, you have Jordan Chun from last year, who is another undrafted rookie. Then you have Darius Anderson, another undrafted running back out of TCU. I really do think the Cowboys here have prime candidates to have a third running back, and for me, I would probably have out of these, I think my money would probably be on Rico, just because I think Rico has it really comes down to if they want a fullback or not, because I think if the Cowboys do want a fullback, they'll probably like I mentioned, go with Shewo, assuming Jameis just like doesn't look anything special, or like just isn't, you know what I mean, like he isn't doing what he's doing, or like the Cowboys just don't feel like he fits with the system anymore. But like when you look at the other three, you know, and Darius, Jordan, and Rico, they have that same style of run. Like they were known to be power backs that can, you know, beat the living crap out of defenses. Okay, like that's was their style in college. Granted, except for Darius, I should say, because Darius, he had, apparently, when I was doing some research, he actually has the nickname Jet, which is kind of funny. But I just don't think, like, the thing for me is, like, I don't believe the Cowboys need anything more than just another back like Zeke, because unless you're using the fullback as that, because my main issue here, and I want to harp on this so you guys understand, Ezekiel Elliott, we know what his skill set is. We know what Tony's skill set is. We know what we have with our top two running backs. It really comes down to who you want as your third/fourth running back, if you include the fullback. Because if you want to have a Zeke clone, or not necessarily that, but someone who can come in and play with Zeke's type of style of, I'm going to hit you hard on with the defense, and I'm going to just run and seek contact, I think you have that in a guy like Rico or Jordan Chun that can take that. Or if you want to throw in any of the fullbacks, I don't think Jameis is like that. I think he's more of your just stereotypical fullback that blocks and catches out of the backfield, or out wide if you want him to. But when I look at what the Cowboys have to offer, I really do believe that they have a solid. I really do like who they have in the running back room outside of Zeke and Tony, because they all have interesting characteristics that they can bring to the team, and I really think that Mike McCarthy can get the most out of these guys if things go well. When it comes to a grade, I'd probably give this running back room probably a B+ or an A-, mainly due to the fact that I really do think it comes down to how the Cowboys use them outside of Zeke, because Zeke in and of itself is a B+ to A- rating, or hell, an A rating. I think it comes down to how we see the other guys with conjunction with Zeke. So there's that. So I think I've talked long enough. I don't want to go on forever, but I want to see what you guys have to say in the comments section below. Tell me who you think can make this roster outside of Tony and Zeke. And just who are your pet cats going into the training camp and into the preseason, assuming we have it. So with that being said, guys, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and hit the notification bell. I thank you so much for reaching the end of this video. You're awesome for doing that. And I will be seeing you guys later. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.
I used to live in Sin Cities like Bruce Willis, but I'm Jackie Chan, karate chopping, I'm still kicking. I used to be chopped and screwed, I'm little flipping. Now I'm nice, Mike Jordan, so who's pimping? I'm running man, you the running man, you still slipping. I hit records, you swinging, it's still